The show where there are no penalties, nothing is offside, and everything is fair game. This is The Gloves Are Off.
Welcome to The Gloves Are Off. I'm Moses Woldu, and we got a great show for you. Some people got hired, some got kicked to the curb, and I don't know, are you the former or the latter, Greg Buchanan?
Kind of standing on the curb. Is that good?
On the edge.
On the edge, always on the edge.
We'll see what happens in the next half hour. But this man definitely knows what it's like to be on the edge. Jamie Laboucane, you are a CPCA driver. Season starts this weekend. You got to be excited.
Oh, I'm stoked. We've been training for 2 months now, and it's ready to get rolling here.
And congratulations. I know you're healed up. You had a big injury. You're back, and we can't wait for some exciting things. But first, we're going to test your sports knowledge. And I guess the first question, of course, the Los Angeles Kings. They seem a lot better than their 2012 run. Have a commanding 3-1 lead over the Chicago Blackhawks, the defending Stanley Cup champions. And if you can make the Blackhawks look anemic on any front, offense, defense, you name it, even on special teams, power play was non-existent. Could you say that this is probably the best Kings team that has been? And are they the Stanley Cup frontrunners now out of the 4 teams we have left?
It's hard to say. I mean, they had a pretty good team when they won the Cup last time they were there. They got a superb goalie, Quick is, second to none. And but they just got a lot of, big, talented players, and they got a lot of heart. They just never quit digging. That's what I see out there.
And you score.
Well, and think adding Marian Gaborik to it, and that's one guy that we haven't really talked too much about.
How about Jeff Carter?
And Jeff Carter, that line, the 70s line, has been phenomenal. But Marian Gaborik comes there, and everybody kind of wondered, him, who's a very offensive-minded kind of guy, how is he going to play for Sutter out in L.A., who always preaches defense first? But you know what? He's fit right in, and he scored some big goals. And L.A. is one big, big hockey team. And I watched him in person, and I just couldn't believe the size of those guys. And they're fast, they're big, they hit, and they're aggressive. Right now, yeah, they got to be the front runners. I think anybody that comes out of the Chicago series, well, apologies to the Rangers and the Canadians, but they don't match up.
What has impressed you about the LA Kings so far?
Well, we're just talking about their size, how big they are. But sometimes when you get that in there, you lose a little finesse, you lose a little scoring ability. But those big guys that are on that team, they seem to be able to score, and they got a lot of talent there, regardless of, what they do, it seems like.
When you have big guys and big bodies in front of the net, you can throw any kind of pucks on the net and good things are going to happen. And it's happened a lot of times. LA's got some greasy goals during the playoffs, and it's for the simple fact that pretty hard to see around a guy that's about 6'4" with his butt in front of your face. And that's what's happened a lot of times.
Well, you know what? We're going to talk about the New York Rangers, Montreal Canadiens. It seems like this one, much like the previous series, is going to go to the team that's leading 3-1. We're talking about New York, of course. Despite Montreal losing their starting goaltender, Carey Price, they've kept in it. However, this isn't just the only battle that's going on. There's a lot that's going on off the ice too, of course, recently about a couple of the assistants for the New York Rangers getting kicked out of Montreal practice, and of course the Canadians claiming that they were spying on the team, seeing what lines they had, etc. Is this a meaningful thing, or is this just something that's meaningless and been drubbed up by the media? Or the Canadians themselves?
Well, you're preparing to play the opposite team right off the bat, and you know your system. You go into, the playoff situations. You're not going to change your system that much. Yes, maybe you might get a quicker idea, but at the end of the day, you still got to go out there and play them. And at the end of the day, I think they're a little bit down from losing Price, and the players just got to decide that it doesn't matter. We're going to win anyway. It's happened before. Look at the Oilers when they came back from 3-1 and won.
It is a gentleman's agreement, okay? Your morning skates, anybody can watch you. On your days off, when you have that rink and you're practicing, it's a gentleman's agreement you're not supposed to watch. And obviously the Rangers didn't pay attention to that. I've been in Allen Cups where we practiced, and it wasn't a morning skate, but we practiced, and we weren't playing that day. And as a gentleman's agreement, even at that level, you're not supposed to watch. And I can just tell you, somebody was watching one of our practices one time, and there was a few pucks shot at those people sitting in the stands for a reason. I'm not going to say they connected, possibly they did, but they moved in a hurry, let's
Isn't
just
it
say.
just more gamesmanship than anything else? Like, I don't think it's something that's that I think was a little out of, taken out of proportion.
You have to realize the players aren't the only ones competing in this game, and the players aren't the only ones competing and hate the other team in this series. The coaches have a dislike for each other too, and you get that, and it's nice to have that kind of competitive atmosphere and bring it not only on the ice but behind the bench too.
There's no better competition than the American League East in the MLB. The Toronto Blue Jays, usually the doormat, and you can't blame them. You got the high-powered New York Yankees with all the money in there. Same thing with the Boston Red Sox, Tampa Bay Rays. They seem to know what to do. Smart draft picks, great management. That works out. However, the Toronto Blue Jays are above all those teams, including Baltimore as well, in the mix, and lead the AL East, 30-22 on a 7-game win streak. Guys, are the Blue Jays for real?
Well, I mean, it's a little early to tell right now. I mean, we're not that far into the season yet. And yeah, they look good right now, but let's be honest here. There was big hype last year. They said they were going to go all the way, and they fell on their faces. Yeah. I mean, all it takes is a few injuries and stuff like that. But, you know, if we see a little bit down the road here into the season, and if they keep playing the way they are, I mean, it's hard to argue that.
We overhype so many things in the media. I know last year, the home opener, we'll play this home opener, and after that, we'll have the playoffs, I think. You know, and that was, we're 4 months away into the playoffs. Right now, it's May. If they're like this, say about this time in July, and they're still in first place, or even contending for top spot in the AL East, I say they're for real. But again, it's only May. Let's judge that as we get into the dog days of summer.
Okay, and the next biggest thing coming in late July is the trade deadline. Jeff Samardzija, pitcher for the Chicago Cubs, has been brilliant for his team. However, they don't have the necessary run support to give him.
Cubs suck.
Yes, yes. Speaking for,
I'm a Cubs fan. I'm a Cubs fan. I admit we suck. Okay.
But Jamie, Greg, I do want to ask you this: what does Alex Anthopoulos, the GM of the Toronto Blue Jays, have to do to pick up another arm, much like Samardzija, or another guy out there to make this team a legitimate contender? Because it seems, with the guys they have, they've been reasonable. Jay Happ has done a great job. Drew Hutchison has been a pleasant surprise. You look at some of the other guys, of course, Burley has been outstanding. But what will they have to do in order to get over the hump and, like you say, make the postseason, Greg?
Young talent. You have to give up some young talent to get some good talent for right now.
So like Marcus Stroman then?
Well, you could be giving up that. There's a few outfielders there too. They're kind of deep at center or a little bit deep at left. They might be able to move a couple of guys there. But to give up and to build for right now, you have to give up your future. So that's a tough choice to make for the Jays. Do we have what it takes to make a run for it this year and sacrifice some young guys that are going to be around for a number of years down the road?
Have you seen enough from the Jays that they're buyers now instead of, say, sellers?
Well, I mean, it's pretty early to just be giving up your future like that, too. I mean, they haven't proved that they have a huge pile of depth. They, it's starting to look good, but, maybe do you give away some draft picks and stuff like that, too? Maybe that's an option. But
again, that's the future again.
You don't want to weaken your team too much, though, because otherwise, you might be set back and all of a sudden you're losing again and you can't get out of it.
All right, guys, when we return, we're going to talk about the CFL, and they're counting down the days. It looks like we might be heading to a strike coming up.